Hello and welcome to Opening Bars. The black and white rag may not be readily known by many these days, but it has a noteworthy distinction in musical history. Written in 1908 by American composer George Botsford, the piece itself is arguably his most famous. The form was certainly well established and popular of the time, with masters such as Joplin, Lamb, and Scott already contributing heavily to publisher catalogs. While the genre gradually gave way to jazz in the 1920s, the smoldering embers never truly died away, re-emerging again in the 1950s. This piece, in particular, became the hallmark of one Winifred Atwell, a Trinidadian-born artist working primarily in the UK and later in Australia. It was her performances and this musical style that stirred the hearts and minds of a post-war England and Europe. Let's step back for a moment and briefly take a look at this piano work, but more specifically, highlight the woman who ushered in a glorious era of honky-tonk ragtime music. The Black and White Rag is a 1908 ragtime composition by George Botsford. The song was recorded widely for both the phonograph and player piano, and was the third ragtime composition to sell over 1 million copies of sheet music. The song was first recorded in 1909 as performed by the Victor Orchestra for a Victor disc release. Pianist Wally Rose revitalized interest in the song with his 1941 recording, leading to one of the best-known versions, a 1952 recording by Trinidadian pianist Winifred Atwell, which helped her to establish an international profile. Originally the B-side of another composition, Cross Hands Boogie, Black and White Rag was championed by the popular disc jockey Jack Jackson, and started a craze for Atwell's honky-tonk style of playing. The recording became a million-selling gold record, and in the United Kingdom, was later used as the theme tune for the long-running BBC Two television snooker tournament, Pot Black. Winifred had little desire to utilize her credentials as a pharmacist, as her heart's desire was to pursue music with the intention of becoming a concert pianist. Leaving Trinidad as a young adult, she went to the United States to study, and a few years later left for England in October 1945 to enter a program at the Royal Academy of Music. 2 weeks after her arrival in London, she was already booked to appear on a television spot, which became a recurring occupation for her. In between, she would moonlight playing popular music and ragtime in city clubs, theaters, and variety shows. In 1948, she caught the eye of entrepreneur Bernard Delfont, who put her on a long-term contract, and later, in 1952, with her notoriety rising exponentially, signed with Decca Records. Her recordings of the time, notably of Rachmaninoff and Gershwin's Rhapsody in Blue, are particularly musical and lovely. But it was the ragtime honky-tonk style that catapulted her to stardom and financial wealth. It has been reported that her sales reached 30,000 discs per week. Winnie even played a private party for a young Queen Elizabeth II, who personally requested Roll Out the Barrel as an encore. In an interesting side note, Winifred's hands were insured with Lloyd's of London for an astounding £40,000, the policy reportedly stipulating that she was never to wash dishes. My hands, sadly, have no such condition imposed upon them. While the jaunty piano style of the 1950s and 60s may now have faded, as has its stars, Winifred Atwell, it should be remembered, was an immensely famous radio, television, and concert stage performer in her day. She played 3 Royal Variety performances, appeared in virtually every capital city in Europe to many a standing room only crowd, and played for over 20 million people. She was by far the biggest selling pianist of her time. Not only was she the first black artist in the UK to sell 1 million records, but she was the first black woman to have a #1 hit in the UK singles chart, and as of 2023, remains the only female instrumentalist to do so. And finally, in a memoir, Elton John revealed an ardent admiration for Winifred Atwell, and in fact, it is reported, may even have provided the new piano-shaped headstone for her gravesite in New South Wales, Australia. So here, forthwith, is my performance of the Black and White Rag. I'll have a MuseScore scroll along in a video as well for your reference. I've tried to stay as true to Winifred's realization of the tune as I am able. Thank you, and bless you, Winifred Atwell. And now to my other piano.